Good evening. Good evening. Today is May 9th, 2024, and the time is 6:30 p.m. I will now call the regular meeting of the District 191 Board of Education to order. Welcome to those of you who are in the audience here and watching online. It's great to see such a full house this evening. You've picked a great meeting to attend, as we'll be receiving a report on innovative work being done in the district, as well as considering some important actions later in the meeting. In order to ensure everyone can hear those presentations and board actions, I encourage those who've joined us tonight to take conversations you may need to have to a space outside the boardroom, and also please take a moment to silence your cell phones. Thank you. Director Merceau, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Second.
Director Connor, seconded by Director Merceau. All those, first of all, is there any discussion on the matter? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion carries unanimously. We will start off this evening's meeting with our annual innovation report presented by Dr. Chris Belmont, Assistant Superintendent. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Miller. Members of the board, on behalf of Superintendent Battle, I'm happy to share with the board our annual innovation report. This is not meant to be all-encompassing of all the innovation and adaptations that our staff and the leadership do on a regular basis, rather to just highlight some things, some points of celebration, and then to hopefully launch us into future endeavors within our school district. This quote comes from our strategic roadmap that we commit to our community to support and leverage new methods and original thinking in order to improve student outcomes. One of the innovative steps that we are taking as a community is our Grow Your Own Pathway program for our teachers. So this includes a multi-layered approach with partners that include higher education institutions, partners within our own school district employee groups, and then partnerships at our sites and our schools. The goal of our Grow Your Own program is to break down barriers for our aspiring teachers in order to support them not just financially, but adaptively, so that they can earn their certification and hopefully come teach in our community, which they are already connected to. Currently, we have a dozen 191 employees that are working towards their teaching degrees in the hope of either student teaching soon or amidst student teaching as they are en route to realize one of their professional goals to get a teaching license. Some other pieces, and I won't read every single or elaborate on every single system redesign that we're looking towards. One of Superintendent Battle's expectations is when we are looking towards innovation that we are not just creating new models and new ways of being, but instead looking at different ways to implement our current structures to reach even better outcomes for our students, families, and staff. The addition this year of the Student Systems Leadership Specialists, we're still collecting, so that's 4 FTEs at our elementary level, teachers on special assignment, working with principals, support staff, and teachers in order to help with systems at the elementary sites for us to have better student outcomes and quicker intervention systems to help students be more successful in Tier 1 programming. Some other things to highlight is just our enhanced transition programming between school changes. Director Oftedal spoke about that last board meeting at our student performance and achievement presentation, that we are really trying to be hyper-focused, collaborative, and caring with our students and families as they transition within our system, whether it be early childhood to kindergarten, 5th grade to middle school, or middle school to high school. We want to be sensitive to the needs of our students, families, and staff at this time, during those times, and we have been really intentional in launching that work this year. Our credit recovery that happens during the school day, Burnsville High School students do not have to stay long hours after their school day or come extremely early in the morning in order to make up credits on top of their already busy schedules. There is such a variety of reasons students need to make up credits as they move through our high school system, and we are working in partnership to alleviate some of those barriers that allow students to maintain positive momentum during their school day and make up for some lost credits in the past. It's resulted in hundreds and hundreds of credits regained by students in a supportive, caring environment. Finally, this video helps share some innovation we are doing within our school community around early childhood screening. I won't describe. I'll let Danny and our young scholar describe for you.
Historically, in 191, early childhood screening has been a pretty parent-led process. You have to know where to go to sign up. Not a ton of outreach, not a ton of active outreach happening. But currently, what we're trying to do to be more innovative and inclusive is be proactive in how we approach families. One is going directly into local preschools and childcare facilities, getting consent from parents for us to do the screenings right there where the kids are at, so they don't have to make another appointment, take off time for work, trying to be more accessible in that way. We have an upcoming appointment with the Burnsville Library where we're going to partner with an early childhood story time that they're doing and get to kind of participate with them and then provide some information about early childhood screening and other early childhood programs that we have. Another innovative process that we've been working with the communications department on is creating beautiful posters and flyers that you see floating around the community, trying to plaster them kind of all over where we know parents with young children are going to see them. And we're also working with our cultural liaisons closer than we ever have in an effort to reach all of the families in 191 so that language is never a barrier for access to early childhood screening.
Thank you, Aaron. In 191, we believe that equity is about changing the student experiences so that everyone succeeds in our system. It's not a top-down enterprise, but rather an organic, bubble-up enterprise where everybody's empowered and honored, voices are brought to the surface, and we consider innovation and then analyze those results. The Haggerty implementation is one of our recent examples of some equity work that's gone on where started with teacher voice that launched us into new systems, which has now vaulted us into some district-wide enterprises as we look at the READ Act legislation next year. Another example of equity in action is our multilingual attendance line that Ron Elementary staff identified after speaking with families. And this one makes me very proud because it is a clear example of ways that we are moving further right on the continuum of cultural proficiency. Our staff at Ron Elementary realized that some parents and family members needed linguistic support to better communication. That starts with moving from color blindness to pre-competence, but they didn't stop there. They realized that just having a one-way feature where families had to receive outreach from the school on their timeline was the only way for access. Moving further right on the cultural proficiency continuum, they identified that we can go further and make systems that honor the voices and the timelines of our families, and now they can reach out to the school using their language and initiate that in their interaction rather than wait for the school to do it. I want to also call out our multilingual staff who have been leading so many different innovative processes to reach our nearly 50% English second language students and families in our community. Next, our CPSS and equity events. We are working really hard in 191 to set up and maintain predictable checkpoints to hold us accountable, and then to give students and families routine access to places where they can feel like they can thrive, their voices are heard and honored, and their lived experiences are celebrated. Some examples include, we are now in year 3 of our Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging Council. Our student leaders at Burnsville High School that come from, I believe, 9 different affinity groups to meet regularly with caring and supportive staff leaders to design student experiences at the high school where everyone is empowered, honored, and celebrated. Some other examples that you can see on the slideshow. We really value making sure that we have our arts come alive and that students see as many mirrors and windows as possible when they are having different experiences at our elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. One of the examples is the international exchange with the South African Music Group, visiting our elementary schools this past February. Finally, our high school affinity groups have, thanks to the supporting and caring staff that help facilitate, have normalized and standardized Culture Week in May. And I believe they just recently, it was last week, celebrated Culture Week, where so many different students are able to express who they are and also learn from each other in that school setting during the school day. So those are some common threads and themes that you'll see in our innovation. Some other new features this year is 191. We want to continue to be on the front line of innovation when it comes to meeting the mental health needs of our students and our staff and families. The addition of Care Solace this year, as well as our new partnership with Washburn Services, has seen an increase of our mental health service opportunities for students by about 40% in 1 year. We want to always have, okay, I'll try to speak up a little louder.
It was really good. But you had it, but you moved it farther away. You
Okay,
had it closer, we could hear you.
okay.
Yeah,
It's on.
it's just really quiet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
It
you.
looks like. Sorry, it's just really
Maybe I
quiet.
need
Thank
to
you.
use another.
No, I think it's the master system because mine went down also. I
Okay.
sent a note to Mike, so.
We could have a technical. I'm not like Miss McDevitt. I don't have a naturally booming voice, but I'll work on it. So just making sure that we have mental health initiatives that are always innovative, that we are cultivating partnerships that where we have expectations for our partners, and that we're looking at the data to make sure that our students and families and staff can access mental health supports, and if they can't, making adaptations and finding out what the barriers are and breaking those down. Now I lost my slideshow support because he's doing sound.
Oh, there's a reason.
Thank you, Amina.
There you go.
So some other things that we always want to be innovative on is infrastructure and system innovations. So like the spaces we occupy help inform the behaviors they help inform our behaviors when we're in different spaces. They can cultivate and spark different ideas. It can influence collaboration, and it can help create safe calm, positive spaces for our students and staff to thrive. You can see on the list just a few different pieces that we want to do, whether it comes to communicating better, finding different ways to share messaging, or to find ways to make things more efficient and effective. We want infrastructure and systems that really work better. One example, and it may seem minor, but it's really shifted the data this year, is students being able to get on the right bus. So we have students accessing our bus from age 4 all the way to 12th grade. And it was a long time ago, but just to share a quick story about Chris Belmont, my first day of kindergarten, I'll never forget it. I got on the wrong bus to head home, and I still remember like it was yesterday, coming home about a half hour, 45 minutes late. They got me home, and my mom crying, and then because she was crying, I started crying, and that was a moment that I'll never forget. I do remember being cared for, but we are hoping to eliminate that experience for students for a variety of reasons, and so we have seen such a rapid reduction through this innovative step. So we can show the video.
We started the process last year during summer school. We wanted to make busing as easy as possible for our most vulnerable students. That would be pre-K, students that are going into kindergarten, first graders. We wanted to make sure that they would get on the right bus and have good direction. We could associate an animal with a bus number that is something that all students would know. Everyone knows what a frog looks like, what a bunny looks like, what a grasshopper looks like. So what we did is we found a contractor that could actually make magnets for us. And once we got the designs, we wanted designs that were friendly, kind of fun. Once we got a contractor that could put the designs on a magnet, we went ahead and had magnets made. When the student who's looking for their bus in the elementary, most of the time they won't tell you what your bus number is. They will tell you on the grasshopper bus or on the whale bus or whatever, the turtle bus or whatever. So that's kind of evolved into that. And in the past, the first 2-3 days of school, the first time a student rides the bus, we've had multiple. I mean, we've had as many as 10, 12 students get on the wrong buses, which creates a lot of issues, a lot of problems, a lot of confusion, a lot of angst, especially with parents, because the students not on the bus. We always find them, but they get on the wrong bus. And this year, I believe we had the least amount since I've been around in the district that we've had get on the incorrect bus. So from that standpoint, it's successful, and the teachers thought that was great. And actually, the startup was probably one of the best startups we've ever had based on that fact alone.
Yeah, so the new bus signs this year have been amazing. Our youngest learners make a lot of connections with the symbols and the animals or the pictures they make that make sense to their brain. And so if I ask a kindergartner what bus you ride, I'll get an answer like I'm on the elephant bus or I'm on the goldfish bus. And even staff, especially the routine was kicked off this fall, they made a lot of connections with their kids, even saying, I heard teachers, especially younger grades, saying, hey, you're on the goldfish bus, you're on the llama bus, or you're on the elephant bus. And so that imagery seems to work really well for our youngest learners. And that was really the intent, and the design was to put something in place that made sense to our kids, especially our younger ones. That's been great.
Thank you. So as you can see, innovation can take a small form or major form, but in 191, we really want to make sure we are honoring. I can watch it again. It was good. In 191, we want to make sure that we take risks, that we center students, and so I just want to say again how much I appreciate working in 191 because our staff members come up with innovative ideas centralized on the student experiences. And then I want to call out leadership or teachers or educational assistants, whatever those ideas are. We try to live in a culture of innovation where we take risks, try things, monitor the data, and then in this case, we celebrate when things look much better. Finally, One of our core values, student staff agency. We want to, anytime we can, break down traditional hierarchical structures that may not empower everyone in our system, and instead give people an opportunity to have a platform and a voice to feel more empowered and to make our whole community better. So you see some different examples. Our community education sponsored our Muslim staff to go to a conference this year. One of the things I heard consistently from our principals and associate principals is they couldn't engage in professional development in their networks because they didn't feel like they could ever be gone from their building because of the management and operational needs each day. So we designed systems where other administrators were clearing their schedules months in advance. We were also making room for budding and future administrators, people that wanted to have, that were either pursuing their licensure or wanted to have that experience leading a building. We supported that, and then the result is that we've had 2 years of our principals and associate principals being able to attend their professional development for the first time in a while. So identifying the need by really listening, taking innovative risks, and then monitoring those results, celebrating or making adjustments. Thank you. That concludes and includes the the annual innovation report. Back to you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions from board members? Yes, Director Mercer.
Yes, so thank you, Dr. Belmont. That was an amazing list of programs. I just love the school identification system. That looks so much fun. And I can already imagine the discussion that students can have with those little animal stickers on their buses. So that's great. One thing that just touched me was the multilingual support line. That is going to have a huge impact because there's a huge gap in the communication between parents and teachers, and I think that's definitely going to have a positive impact on our students and parents. Just have a question on that. So is it when the parents call the school line, they have the options to select, or how does it work?
Yes, and I might have to get some more details from Principal Rob and his staff. However, my understanding is they work with one of our partners, Dialogue One, one of our interpreting services, where the families have an access code, and yep, it's just mine, I think. They have an access code where they can enter their information, and then it will, the translator or the interpreter service will be on the line with them as they're contacting the school. So as opposed to, they would have to reach out to a liaison or someone and say, I need a call from the school, and then the school would congregate all of the interpreting services. The families are able to have that code and be able to initiate themselves. Another resource that we didn't touch on, but I know that it's being utilized amongst our teaching staff, especially, is Talking Points, an app where two-way communication can have immediate translation between families and staff. So same goal, different tool and resource.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, this is great to hear and great to know. I mean, we all know that a lot of parents depend on their students for translations and stuff, and that's a big responsibility for the students, especially in an elementary. So this is going to relieve some of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Director Marsal.
Other questions or comments? No. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for that, and thank you to everybody that's working through all these innovations in our district. This is a fantastic report. All right. Next, Mike, let's go ahead and turn up my microphone, please, and yours is getting
Can hear
better.
it. Yours is better.
Okay. Next, we'll receive a report from Cody Hong, Student Board Representative. Cody, the floor is yours.
Oh, awesome. All right. Thank you, Chair Miller.
What is this out?
So as Dr. Belmont had mentioned already, Burnsville High School recently had our Culture Week, which took place. And hello. All right, I'll try to project. At Burnsville High School, we recently had our Culture Week, which took place from April 29th to May 4th, where different affinity groups across the school planned extravagant and exciting events throughout the week. As part of Culture Week, Light Up the Night took place on Friday, May 3rd, which was, for lack of a better term, a night festival market type of deal. Over 200 students attended the event, and over 40 tables were included, which made up of community organizations, local businesses, and student businesses as well. In addition, the night was lit up with some student performances, which included K-pop dances from our Team 18s, a special performance from Latinos Unidos, and the students from the Horn of South Africa, and a band performance from the infamous All Day Breakfast. If you know, you know. And overall, the event was a success and showcased the excellent student work that students have been planning throughout the year, and finally got to showcase. It is also AAPI Heritage Month here, which is celebrated during May, and the Asian Student Association has many fun opportunities planned out. Every Wednesday, the Asian Student Association hosts different meetings. This past Wednesday was an AAPI panel titled Breaking the Three-Career Pipeline, which included many Asian American creatives, which are playwriters, directors, actors, and artists across the Twin Cities sharing their experiences in these creative fields where it's not most notably known as the Three-Career Pipeline. In addition to that as well, on Friday, May 24th, the AAPI Culture Show will occur with a student preview during 7th hour during the school day, and then an evening show at 7 o'clock at night. Many exciting performances and acts from students at Burnsville High School will occur, which includes a fashion show, spicy ramen contest, and more K-pop dances. And tickets are available to purchase on Vanco. Madison Malika was awarded the prestigious Athena Award. The Athena Award recognizes, quote, outstanding female athletes who have made a difference, and as they go into the real world, they are also the type of people who will continue to make a difference and amaze others. Madison was chosen as this year's recipient from Burnsville. As a three-time athlete, Madison holds 11 varsity letters in tennis, basketball, and track, was honored an MVP twice in both basketball and track, and earned an academic all-state honors in tennis. She received the award at the ceremony on Friday, May 3rd, and we send her our greatest congratulations for her dedication and hard work. As the year also wraps up, the class of 2024 will be heading on to the next chapter of their lives. Decision Day will occur in the Career Center on Thursday, May 16th, which is a festive event that takes place during all the lunches. In previous years, students came to the College and Career Center to showcase their plans with their peers with pictures and small treats. And as of right now, over 130 seniors have announced their plans on the student-ran decisions page. This concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Cody. Thank you. Do board members have any questions or comments for Cody? Okay, thank you. Now we will receive the superintendent's report from our Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Chris Belmont, who is filling in this evening for Superintendent Battle.
Thank you, Chair Miller and members of the board. As Cody mentioned, this is the time of year for celebrations and recognitions. Graduation ceremonies are just a few weeks away and are certainly the biggest, but I also wanted to mention a couple of others that have just taken place as part of this report. First, the district held its annual retiree reception at the Ames Center on Tuesday, April 30th. I believe Dr. Battle and board members look forward to being able to thank and congratulate employees who either have already retired or will be retiring at the end of the year. It was my pleasure to be at this year's event. And while I've been in District 191 for some time and in many different roles, it's still a chance for me to get to know a little about employees I haven't always had the chance to work closely with before. It's inspiring for me to hear about their reflections on their careers and their plans for the future. At the retirement event, Dr. Battle mentioned in her opening remarks that these are people, that our retirees are people who have literally impacted the lives of thousands of individuals, as well as our community and the wider world through their work in public education. That's amazing to think about and something for everyone to reflect on and celebrate. So thank you to all of this year's retirees and best wishes for a long and enjoyable retirement. Second, on Saturday, we proudly hosted the South of the River Powwow at Burnsville High School. The event welcomes families from several communities in the South Metro. In addition, on Friday night, there was a special ceremony for District 191's graduating Indigenous seniors. It's an honor to be invited to witness a celebration by a culture different than my own. I think it's an opportunity to learn and see beauty and pride and community in new ways. I feel humble and grateful to learn how our Native community supports our graduates. Lastly, Dr. Battle and I would be remiss if we failed to acknowledge that this is Teacher Appreciation Week. It's not surprising, but it's been heartening to see or hear about the countless images, messages, and gestures this week from our families, our students, and our community that's expressing their thanks to 191 teachers. As a 191 teacher myself, as the spouse of a teacher, and as the parent of children in this district, I have experienced firsthand the amazing impact teachers have through their caring and compassion, through their skills and knowledge, and through their commitment to see each student succeed. Speaking of honoring incredible teachers, this week, 2 of our outstanding teachers were honored as finalists for the Minnesota Teacher of the Year, Becca Buck and Marie Hansen. 191 has now had 3 finalists for the Minnesota Teacher of the Year since 2020. We have also had 3 state Teachers of the Year since the award's inception in 1964. I believe this remarkable point is due in part to the culture of care, equity, excellence, and professional partnership found in our school district. Thank you, and that concludes my Assistant Superintendent's report on behalf of Superintendent Battle for tonight.
Thank you. Do board members have any questions or comments for Dr. Belmont? No? Seeing none. Thank you. Lastly, we will receive reports from board members. Just a reminder that we have our committee reports scheduled for our May 23rd meeting. Do any board members wish to share a report? Yes, Director Word, please.
I also had the honor of attending the South of the River Powwow and Feather Ceremony on Saturday, May 4th, and it was just a wonderful experience to be a part of our Native American and Indigenous community as they honor their graduates from our surrounding communities, and just really just feel our community come together to honor those individuals and see how they bring in their heritage and their, their community to honor those individuals. And I'm just grateful that I could partake in that, and that ends my report.
Thank you. Any other reports from board members? Okay. Well, that will conclude the information portion of our meeting tonight. So we will now move to the business portion of our meeting, where we'll start by approving the consent agenda. Although board action is required, it is generally unnecessary to hold a discussion on these items. In the event a board member wishes to discuss an item, that item will be moved for separate consideration. This time I'll ask, do any board members wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
Second.
Moved by Director Hume, seconded by Director Chester. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. The motion carries unanimously. In the first item under new business, we are being asked to adopt a resolution to accept donations. Now, as you most likely are aware, this has typically been done in our consent agenda, but at the suggestion of the Minnesota School Board Association, thank you, Sarah, we are going to try adjusting our agenda to include the resolution in new business. Here to present tonight's resolution is Jason Sellers, Director of Community Education. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you, Chair Miller, Associate Superintendent Chris Belmont, and members of the board. I'm here to recommend that you allow us to accept a $50 donation from two Burnsville residents who wanted to donate funds to be able to purchase food for our youngest learners in elementary schools for our Brain Power Backpack program.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution to accept the donation as presented? Moved by Director Chester,
Second.
seconded by Director Werb. Is there any discussion on the matter? Well, I will just add our heartfelt thanks for that. Having been moved and seconded, the resolution will require a roll call vote. So in just a second, I will ask Sarah to call the roll. And when she calls your name, please respond with either an aye if you are in favor of the resolution or nay if you're opposed. I understand this is also a change, but we are making a few changes the way we're doing these. Sarah, will you please make the roll call?
Director Hume? Aye. Chester? Aye. Connor?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
Werb?
Aye.
Mursall?
Aye.
All right, that might have been the hardest work, $50, but thank you very much. This resolution was declared duly passed and adopted. All right, next we're being asked to approve on a first reading basis changes to policy 206, public participation in school board meetings, complaints about persons at school board meetings, data privacy considerations. Presenting this policy will be Dr. Belmont, Assistant Superintendent.
Thank you, Chair Miller. This policy, which was presented to the Policy Review Committee on April 23rd, 2024, features some minor changes and revisions based on Minnesota School Board. The changes in the Minnesota School Board Association recommendations to remove addresses as required for those making public comment or speaking at board meetings.
Okay, is there a motion to approve on a first reading basis the recommended changes to policy 206?
So moved.
Moved by Director Hume.
Second.
Seconded by Director Chester. Is there any discussion on the matter? So just to clarify, these are very minor changes. I think mostly pointing to other outstanding documents outside, right? Correct. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion carries unanimously. Next on our agenda, we have a closed session as permitted by Minnesota State Statute 13D.05 Subdivision 3 to hear a proposal for an amended and restated purchase agreement for the Metcalf school property located at 2250 Diffley Road in the city of Eagan. Is there a motion to move to a closed session to discuss the Metcalf property purchase agreement proposal?
So moved.
Moved by Director Marisol,
Second.
seconded by Director Werb. Is there any discussion on moving to private closed session? Not sure why we'd have discussion on that, but all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The motion carries unanimously. The time is now 7:08, and we will leave for the HR conference room to hold the closed session, and will return to the dais immediately following the closed session. Time is now 7:30, and we are returning to our open meeting, having just finished a closed session to be briefed on the Metcalf Middle School property amended and restated purchase agreement. Our next step is to move to the next item on the agenda, which is to consider approving a resolution to approve a purchase proposal for the Metcalf property. At this time, I'd like to call Stacy Sovine, Executive Director of Administrative Services, and Stacy Kilvang, Ayler's Senior Municipal Advisor, to come forward and share a summary of our closed session and present our next steps.
Thank you, Chair Miller, Dr. Belmont, members of the board. Just to give you a quick recap, we have been working on this project now for a little over 2 years. Our original proposal was back in April 2022. Through that time, a lot of things have happened, both with the economy, both in our interactions as far as getting approval through the local municipality. And with all of those changes, conditions, again, have changed, requiring to look at the project as a whole and look at some renegotiating of the terms with that. Before we get into all of that, I'm going to turn that piece over to Stacy to be able to kind of give you a rundown as far as the market and what that all looks like, and then we'll go forward from there.
Thank you, Chair and Directors. As Stacy had stated, essentially a lot has happened over the last 2 years, and probably one of the biggest things was starting to go through the approval process for the redevelopment of that site, which is actually located in the city of Eagan. And through the various meetings that they held with the City Council and the Planning Commission, we saw a reduction in the number of units for that site, 84 to be exact. So that had a direct impact on the purchase price that they could pay for that property. So that is the resulting purchase price that you see before you, but also, you know, in the sense of the interest rate environment. So when we started this process a couple years ago, you know, financing, especially for the multifamily projects, the apartments that are out there, we're in the 3.5%, and today they're in a very, very different place. So that is also causing the fact that they're not able to purchase at such a high price, and so we had to see a reduction with regards to that. Mr. Solvine will talk about the purchase price when he reads the resolution, but essentially the other terms of the agreement is that we are going to close on that property on or before May 1st of 2025. We do have some extensions of their approval process period, which is their time frame to go through with the City of Eagan to complete their EAW for that site and get their final comprehensive plan amendment and all their planning and site plan approval so that they can actually start moving dirt. A couple other changes that we had in the purchase agreement with regards to earnest money. Traditionally, when a developer pays earnest money, if they don't move forward with that development, that money is returned back to the developer. In this case, there is earnest money that they've already placed with you of $50,000. There's an additional $100,000 that they'll be placing with the district, and then for extensions, potentially up to another $50,000. All of that earnest money, if in fact at the end of the day, for whatever reason, after they got their approvals and they choose not to move forward, those dollars will actually be retained by the district. So with that, I will be happy to answer any questions and turn it back to Director Sovine.
With this, it is our recommendation that we bring to you tonight a resolution to ratify the modified changes, and if I may, I'll go ahead and read that at this time. Okay. I'm bringing to you a resolution ratifying authorization of conveyance of property by Independent School District 191 to Syndica LLP and approving amended and restated purchase agreement in connection therewith. Be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District 191, Burnsville-Eagan-Savage, Dakota and Scott Counties, Minnesota, the school district as follows. Recitals. The school district and Syndica LLP, a North Dakota limited liability partnership, the buyer, desire to amend and restate the purchase agreement made on April 28, 2022. The original purchase agreement by and between the school district and buyer, as amended and restated, the amended and restated purchase agreement, pursuant to which the school district will convey certain property owned by the school district and located at 2250 Diffley Road in the city of Eagan, Dakota County, Minnesota, legally described as the northwest quarter of Section 30, Township 27, Range 23, Dakota County, Minnesota, the property. 102. Pursuant to the amended and restated purchase agreement, purchase price for the property is now $9,631,000. 103. pursuant to a resolution of the Board of the School District adopted on April 28, 2022, the original approving resolution. The school district made a finding that conveyance of the property is desirable and in the best interest of the school district and approved the original purchase agreement, notwithstanding anything to the contrary in the open facilities resolution as defined in the original approving resolution. Section 2, amended and restated purchase agreement approved. 201. The board hereby ratifies its finding that conveyance of the property is desirable and in the best interests of the school district and its approval of the conveyance of the property to the buyer. 202. Notwithstanding anything to the contrary in the open facilities resolution, the school district hereby approves the amended and restated purchase agreement in substantially the form presented to the school district, subject to modifications that do not alter the substance of the transaction and that are approved by the board chair and board clerk of the school district, provided that execution of the purchase agreement by those officials shall be conclusive evidence of their approval. 203. School district staff and officials are authorized to take all actions necessary to perform the school district's obligations under the amended and restated purchase agreement as a whole, including without limitation execution of any documents to which the school district is a party, referenced in or attached to the amended and restated purchase agreement, and of any deed or other documents necessary to convey the property to the buyer, all as described in the amended and restated purchase agreement. Approved this 9th day of May 2024 by the School Board of Independent School District 191, Dakota, in Scott Counties, Minnesota.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the resolution ratifying authorization of conveyance of property by Independent School District 191 to Syndica LLP and approving the amended and restated purchase agreement?
So moved.
Moved by Director Connor, seconded by Director Hume. Any discussion on the matter? Nope, not at this meeting. Okay, I would like to, I believe we have a representative of the developer here this evening. On behalf of the school board, the district and the community, welcome you here. Welcome you tonight, but welcome you to our community, and thank you for taking this development upon yourselves to bring some more, hopefully additional students to our district.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Paul Hoyer with Pulte Homes. Brian Bachman from Enclave Companies sends his regrets tonight. He has a conflict that he just couldn't get away from. I'm here in his stead, but we've been on the team together for 2.5 years. Thank you for your patience. We've all needed it through this long process, but we feel we now know what we have in dealing with the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would like to express our interest, because I know the closing date is next spring. The property has been left empty and has been subject to some hijinks, let's say. And it would be of interest to us that and we'd love it if we could enter into negotiation to begin demolition on it earlier than the close, if that's something you're amenable to. And you don't have to decide that tonight, but I just want to express that interest.
Mr. Chair, we will work with you on that. There may be grant money out there that has certain timelines, but let us try to figure that out. Thank you.
Yeah, and along the process, I would also stress that this is a building with a lot of sentimental value to this community. So we like to be sensitive to that. If there's a demolition day, maybe we give plenty of notice and allow people to gather or whatever it takes. So thank you.
Mr. Chair, we heard that message loud and clear at the neighborhood meeting, and will respond.
Very good. Thank you. Having been moved and seconded, this resolution will also require a roll call vote. So in just a second, I will ask Sarah to call the roll. And when she calls your name, please respond with either an aye if you are in favor of the resolution or nay if you're opposed. Sarah, will you please make the roll call?
Director Marcel?
Aye.
Word?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
Connor?
Aye.
Chester? Aye. Hume?
Aye.
Thank you. This resolution to approve the purchase agreement for the Metcalf property was declared duly passed and adopted. A significant moment in our community. Thank you. Next on our agenda, we will move to a closed session to discuss labor negotiation strategy as permitted by State Statute Section 13D.03. Is there a motion to close the meeting at this time to discuss labor negotiation strategy?
So moved.
Moved by Director Marcel, seconded by Director Chester. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The motion carries unanimously. The time is now 7:39, and we will now move to the HR conference room to discuss labor negotiation strategy and return to our open meeting immediately following the closed session. Back here. You'll be back here. agreed-upon agenda, I now adjourn the meeting of the school board. Thank you.
That's